be surreal. Someone better get the door. Someone better get the door. Who's gonna get the door?
Psycho killer. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Fa 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 better.
Someone better get the door. Who's gonna get the door?
Run, 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 run away.
So I'd like to get this like podcast to a point, to where like if I've never used Twitter, so I don't know how the fuck that works. So like Instagram or whatever, maybe at some point I want to start doing like some type of hype to let people know like, hey, I'm gonna be talking about this movie in a week. So, it gives like the audience a chance to watch it if they haven't seen it. But right now there's nobody watching, so I can't do stuff like that yet. I gotta just keep putting out content.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to like create those like whatever like social media platform you want. It wouldn't hurt to create those profiles now and then still be advertising yourself on there as if there were followers on it.
That way there's a history when people are actually finding it.
Yeah, and you can be like putting the links in the bios of your videos right from the start. So if people say somebody like finds that shit, your very first video, and they love that shit, then they can just follow you, and you can keep them updated, And then I think most videos or most content creators, they blow up from like word of mouth rather than being found on the internet,
Welcome to the Death Taco Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and today I'm here joined with the stoic Josh. What's up, man?
What's up?
Today we're here to talk about the 2008 horror film, The Collector, directed by Marcus Dustin. Do you know who that director is?
I have never heard of him, to be honest with you.
He made this movie called Feasts. Not a very well-known movie. You probably don't know what it is.
No, not at all.
I recommend that one. And he also did Saw 4 and Saw 5.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen those. I saw the first 3.
I seen like the beginning of Saw 4, and then we got kicked out of the movie theater because we snuck in.
No shit?
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
I mean, when did Saw 4 come out?
That wasn't that long ago, dude.
It wasn't?
I'll take it back. I guess they're on like fucking 10 almost now.
Yeah, I didn't know they were still making Saw.
Oh, they definitely are.
But I think I was still in high school.
Jesus Christ, we're old. I didn't think it was that old.
Yeah.
But no, so I wanted to do this movie with you just because I feel like it's a lesser known movie and I think it should get some notoriety. And you said you've never seen this.
No, never.
So we watched it separately. I just saw it and you saw it earlier today. Just first impressions, what do you think you could compare it to?
It's a lot like Saw, actually.
A lot like fucking Saw.
Yeah, how he's...
I guess I didn't even connect those dots. Since he made that movie, like, he probably already had some fucking thoughts in the chamber.
Yeah, so like the whole time I was watching it, I was like, whoa, this is a lot like Saw in like some aspects, So I was like, I don't know. And then you just told me that the director made Saw.
Yeah, like, I feel like if you were to describe this to somebody, like, to say it's a good, like, the perfect connection of fucking Friday the 13th and Saw, pretty much. Like a slasher movie, there's a guy with the mask.
Yeah.
I feel like that sums it up decently.
Yeah, pretty well.
So what I like to do now is kind of go break down the movie, get through a lot of plot points. So there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie, I recommend you going to check it out and then coming back to this part. But anyway, so this movie starts off with like a house in the burbs, right? It's nighttime.
Yeah.
And it's like a couple coming home. They look like they're dressed pretty formally for some kind of party. And they look relatively drunk.
Yes. Yeah.
And was it just me, or did you pick up that they looked like strangely similar to fucking Epstein and that chick? Is it just me because I watched the news too much?
It might be just you.
You didn't pick up on that at all?
No, not at all.
Bro, she looks just like the lady. And he looked, I mean, yeah, him is a stretch, but the lady looked just like Giselle Maxwell, bro.
Yeah, it might be just you watching too much news.
I'm pretty sure it is. But so anyway, so they go upstairs to their bedroom, and there's like a big fucking box. Just randomly, that's not supposed to be there. It's obviously, clearly, they're confused by it. It's like a chest.
Yeah. Well, she goes up
Oh, no,
alone, and I think he was.
Oh, she screams, and that's when he goes up, right?
Yeah, and he runs. When he ran, I think he had. To me, he had the perfect reaction. Usually in like scary movies, they kind of like nonchalantly walk upstairs. He actually takes off running upstairs to see what his wife is like calling him for.
I think I would run also. Possibly.
Your face doesn't look like you would run.
I don't know, man. You got to be aware of what you're walking into.
It's true. It's true.
So put yourself in that situation. Do you assume there's someone in the place, or do you just dip out? Do you actually go and investigate the box?
So at first I would assume there was somebody else up there, either that or something's broken. So assuming somebody is up there, I know I'm running up there and I'm looking to like spear the fuck out of this person. Right. I'm running in there like I'm Goldberg in WCW. But like coming across the box, not opening that shit. Not at all.
Not touching it.
No.
Especially after watching this movie.
Especially after watching this movie.
Just drop kick the box, bro, and walk out.
Yeah. Because I know my sister moved into her new house.
I
and they
remember that
found-
because I was there with you, bro.
Yeah, they had that chest down there. They never opened it.
They never opened it?
No, that is the smartest thing to do.
I always think about that because of the joke you said. You're like, if my sister ever opens that box, I'm gonna ask her, do you know what you've done?
Yeah.
But no, so they find the box and it has a note, and they never open it, right?
No, they did open it. And it switches scenes as soon as they open it, so you never see what's in the box.
Well, I don't think, because I put here that the guy got snatched up, so I think he was about to touch it, and then maybe he got grabbed. He turns around and he got knocked out or some shit.
'Cause I know he like undid both clasps and he started to open it, and it looked like they had like freaked out at what was in there, and then he got snatched up.
Ah, okay. So, and then after that, this is one thing I didn't like, because they had some weird credits after that, and really loud music, and it was all stroby, really like techno vampire shit, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's really, I can't even do those sound effects.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off.
Like, it definitely takes you out of it. Like, I rolled my eyes probably when I saw it. You probably rolled
Yeah.
your eyes like, ah, fuck.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is one of those movies.
But so then the credits in at the start, and now it's a mansion, a big, fancy, obnoxious mansion in the woods, kind of like the Resident Evil mansion. Is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And we get introduced to our character, a guy named Arkin. Speaking of that, I forgot to talk about the dude Arkin. I really like that main actor.
Yeah. So the whole movie, I was like, okay, where have I seen this guy? You know, still don't know. But I did like how he portrayed his character.
Like, he's a really believable, like, main guy. Like, all right, this guy looks tough. He fits this part. I believe this shit.
Yeah.
So the main guy's name is Arkin, and it starts off with him. He's like he's a contractor at this mansion. He's doing some type of construction.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of like odd jobs around, just like putting bars on windows and.
So he's just a handyman that's kind of in the area.
Yeah.
He definitely has like a strung out like crackhead look.
Yeah, so like the whole time, so the whole time throughout the movie, it looked like he was like,
Just tweaking a little bit.
if he like sat down, he was gonna fall asleep in the chair, you know?
Like if he sat down, he was gonna pull the pipe out and take a hit just to take a breather for a second.
Yeah.
Like, you'd believe it.
He's like, I just got to wake up a little bit.
Yeah, because he's looking around the house while he's doing, his handyman jobs, and he's looking at everything, and he has that like crackhead look, like, what the fuck can I take?
Yeah, exactly. It's not somebody that I would trust in my house.
No. And we also see the matriarch of the family that this movie involves, the people who own this house. And she's in the restroom. She puts a shot of Botox, I think, into her brow.
Yeah.
Am I not mistaken?
Yes.
That's apparently something people with money do, because I didn't know that. I thought you had to go to a fucking doctor for it.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. She talks about naming the what was it, the crease that she finds in her forehead, and then just injects it.
So I
Says
guess that
bye.
shows that she's kind of vain.
Yeah.
And then this dude Arkin, he runs into the daughter of the family, and she invites him to have a tea party. How did you feel about that scene, bro? Because I don't know, maybe it's just society nowadays. This movie was from 2009, I think I said, so it's over 10 years old. But nowadays, bro, like people, that's kids you don't know, like there's an invisible force field about 6 feet
Yeah.
that we can't get close on.
So I think definitely change of times, possibly even change of area. We live more in the city, so we're more expecting of people doing harm than maybe somebody that's living out in, I don't want to say the wilderness, but further away from other people, you know?
So we're a lot more stranger danger out here than they probably were.
Yeah.
True that, true that. And in the middle of their tea party, he's kind of like low key interrogating her, right? Like we come to find out, like he's asking her, like, if you wanted something really nice, where would it be? Did you pick up on that?
No, I did not actually. I didn't. I think I was more focused on the fact that he even sat down with her.
Yeah.
Because like I can understand the kid offering a tea party, whatever. They don't really know better, but
It's definitely strange.
Yeah, as an adult, you would not expect him to say yes if he doesn't even know this little girl.
Yeah, so he was definitely, I think that's why he did it, maybe because, like I said, he asked her, like, do you want something really nice? Where would it be? And she's kind of like dropping hints, I guess, to where, you know, he ends up being a thief. So the dad busts in on this tea party. And he looks creeped out. So I guess, you know, he did, like, was it just me or did you notice the dad kind of like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, so he definitely looked creeped out, but I figured it was because Arkin,
Mm-hmm.
he had seen that spider on her cup when she was about to take a drink, so he was reaching for it. He said, "No, no, no, no,"
Oh,
and then
okay.
started reaching for it. So I just assumed that it wasn't the fact that he was like sitting there talking to his daughter. It was the fact that it looked like he was reaching for her.
That makes more sense. Then after this scene, the dude Arkin goes outside and he's having a smoke. And that's when he meets this family's, you know, teenage thought daughter. That's all I'm going to call her. That's all my notes say is she's the thought daughter. Very
Loved it.
seductive.
I loved it. I don't know if you've ever seen Californication.
Uh-huh.
She plays a part in Californication. She's like one of the first girls that you see her tits in the show. Very, very nice. Very nice.
So then after this scene, you know, he's kind of just wandering around the property. And from there, the movie changes to where he's going to go meet his daughter. Could you tell where they were at?
Definitely a bowling alley, right?
Was that like where his wife worked?
I'm not sure
Or not his
because
wife or his girl.
yeah, his girl, but when they first switched to the scene, I just assumed that he was there visiting his daughter. Like I assumed that they weren't together. Just how it came about, because he hands her a teddy bear and
It definitely looked like some type of custody thing. Like you could tell, like they definitely weren't a couple, and like you said, it was some type of visitation.
yeah.
But the bear that he hands his daughter, did he swipe that motherfucker, or did he buy the exact same bear?
No, it looked like he bought the same bear.
I don't know, man.
Just-
Like we find out he's a thief, so
This is true.
would it be crazy to assume he just swiped the bear?
No, yeah, he probably took it. I didn't think of that.
It's
I
the
just
exact same bear, dude. I thought too. I was like, maybe he liked that bear and went out and bought the exact same one. But then again, like this guy looks just like a crackhead.
yeah. So like now that you brought it up, the two bears are wearing the same hoodie.
He didn't go out and buy the same identical bear, man.
Yeah. Damn. Thought he just like swung by a Build-A-Bear and
Built the exact same bear.
yeah.
Nah, dude. So then we learned though from this interaction that Arkin's ex or whatever she is, wife, has debts. And she needs to pay those debts. That was the purpose of this meeting, is he was supposed to bring her a certain amount of money. And apparently he didn't do that. So now she's getting hunted by loan sharks, which is a random thing.
Yeah. I thought it was very, very random.
Like we don't know what she did, why she did it, but I thought, thinking back to this movie, I thought it was him, the one who had debt problems. But no, it was his girl.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the beginning, He definitely looks, or well, throughout the entire movie, he definitely looks like the type of person that would owe somebody some money.
It's believable.
Yeah.
So she's threatening him pretty much like, hey, if I don't have this money, I gotta leave town. And she's taking his daughter away from him. I'm assuming that's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
So then he decides to go to a strip club. And he meets up. He has a connect, I guess. Like I said, that's where we find out that he's a thief. Like a legit thief that works for people.
Yeah.
Some type of crime boss, something.
Definitely does jobs for this person, or with this person, because wasn't he inviting him to do this job?
Yeah, he was he got like he said he had been casing the place, so he wasn't a contractor out of the kindness of his heart. He was definitely there for a purpose to steal something.
Yeah.
Did you understand how he figured out where the thing was, by the way?
No, I did not.
That didn't make any sense. Like there was some weird flashes of like a chandelier and some stuff, but I didn't connect the dots to how he figured out where he knew he was going.
Yeah, me neither. That shit was, I don't know. Unless he had like, well, obviously he's been working there for longer than what we see, but I don't know.
Yeah, but before that even, so he's talking to this boss outside of the strip club in a limo. And he kind of makes this like really hard pitch to the boss. He's like, hey, I'm going to need this money up front, blah, 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 blah. And at some point, the boss snatches his hand up and he holds like a lighter under his hand. And he kind of starts burning his skin, to which he really overreacted to. Like, as a smoker, you know, me and I'm sure at some point you've kind of played with like the light under your hand to see how hot it gets.
Yeah, over my finger calluses.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not like what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was definitely like if somebody was tickling his butt.
Well, yeah. I was going to say I wouldn't put it that far, but.
So he makes this pitch to his boss about needing the money by that night. He needs it by midnight. I think that's what his woman said.
Yeah.
So that was the deal they made. And speaking of that, I feel like he left way closer to midnight than what the movie implies.
Yeah, so this whole time he's saying that he needs to have this by midnight, or she said that she needed it by midnight, right? So you assume, my assumption was that he would get the money or whatever it was and meet her before 12, right?
Right.
Because it seems like she needs it by that time or else. So getting it directly at 12 just doesn't seem to like...
It doesn't match up with the time at all.
Yeah, no.
And I was more confused by, like, if I was to guess, because the next scene is him driving his truck, like, through the woods, you know, off the highway. And it's clearly after 8.
Yeah.
Close to 10, maybe, because it's already pretty fucking dark. And so, dude pulls up to the mansion finally. And when he's walking up to the mansion, he parks far away, because he just walks up to it through the woods. And when he gets outside the mansion, there's a giant-ass dog.
Yeah, and so, like, when he sees this dog and it, like, starts, like, going for him, I assumed that it was the family's dog.
Exactly. That was something I didn't see at all.
Yeah.
And did it bite his mask off?
Yeah. Or, like,
Because he's wearing a ski mask, right?
Yeah. It ripped, like, right under his eye.
Ripped, like, a chunk of his mask off, but he's still wearing the mask.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like you said, I thought it was the family's dog. I didn't connect that it was the collector's dog.
Yeah.
So this dude, right, he gets bit by the dog, and then he picks the front door. That's how he breaks in the house. Right through the front door, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And he immediately finds this safe. And like we were talking about a second ago, there's like flashes to describe how he discovered the location of this safe behind a mirror. But I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, no.
And he has like some like techie thief gadgetry that I don't understand. Do you know what it was?
No, I don't, but it definitely, like, looked like he was a spy at that point, because I think he had taken off his mask, and then he was just in all black, so...
It was definitely some like 007 type equipment that neither one of us has any fucking idea what it does. It had numbers on the front of it and shit.
Yeah.
But while he's using the safe, he's listening, you know, twisting, doing what's the word I'm looking for? The typical, like, thief shit, you know, listening for the clicks and shit.
Yeah.
And while he's listening, he hears the footsteps, correct?
Yeah.
And when he was going up the stairs to the safe, one of the floorboards creaked. So he hears that again to know that someone's approaching. And come to find out, that person ends up being the collector.
Yeah, because this whole time, the only reason he went to that house is because the family was supposed to be away out of town.
Oh, that's right. And we learned through dialogue, you know, while he's still contracting in the house, through the family, like there's some trip they're supposed to be going on. So the house is meant to be empty.
Yeah.
Arkin hears these the footsteps coming, so now he knows someone's approaching. So he grabs his shit, and he there's like an overhead shot that I thought was tight. This movie does, like, of the upstairs floor. The camera is panning over their heads, and you can kind of see into rooms and stuff. So I think he tries to escape after that. He manages to hide from him. He tries to go to the front door, and he sees that the collector has installed locks, like 4 of them, like of his own particular locks on the door, so they can't be opened.
Yeah. And before that, I think what I liked about that camera angle is it was almost like that cartoon shit where the collector's walking in one room as he's walking out.
It's like a video game.
Yeah, and then he's about to walk in the next room, and he just perfectly times it to come out the other side to run down the stairs.
Like a cat and mouse game on like a really heightened level.
Yeah.
Okay, so he sees that there's locks all over the doors and shit. And while he's hiding again, the collector goes into the basement. So when the collector goes to the basement, Arkin can hear screams through a vent, like upstairs. And he hides in a closet.
The dad, like, gets free.
On his own?
And he just, like, runs up the stairs. So, like, it looked like he was being tortured.
Yeah, because he's covered in blood. And that's when Arkin sees him while he's hiding in the closet. He, like, jumps into the bedroom.
Yeah. Falls on the ground, and he's, like, looking at him dead in his face. And he's saying, "Why are you doing this to us?"
Yeah, because the collector and Arkin are wearing the exact same clothing pretty much.
Yeah.
Except the collector has a mask on. And Arkin's taking off his ski mask at this point. So the dad thinks that Arkin's the killer because, like I said, they're wearing the same clothes. So the dad grabs a knife. And at this point, we figure out that the collector is fucking Jimmy rigged every piece of furniture in this crib. Because as soon as he picks up the knife, doesn't it, like, something wraps around his foot and it, like, pulls him out of the room? Over the stairs, he's dangling over, like, 10 feet above the ground now, and it drops his ass.
Yeah, it drops him down the stairs. He hits the railing and smacks into the floor. At first, I thought he was dead. And in my mind, I was like, okay, that's definitely not, like, far enough to die. But then he starts moving, and he gets dragged down to the basement again.
This is definitely, like, part of that joke that, like, Saw, or Home Alone's like a prequel to Saw, like on that Home Alone shit. Like, this dude's like Kevin McAllister on, like, roids.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard that reference?
No.
That the kid from Home Alone was, like, a prequel to the Saw movies. Like, that's who he became.
Oh, wow. So the new Home Alone or the old Home Alone?
There's only one Home Alone, bro.
No. So there's Home Alone 1 and 2, and then there's a third one with a different little kid.
That doesn't count.
All right.
When I say the Home Alone movie, bro, I'm not talking about that third one where he fought the Russians with the go-kart dog. I love that movie, but no, that's not what I'm referencing.
All right. If you say so. Can it be both of them working together?
So at this point, Arkin gets out of the closet. He picks up a phone. And when he picks up the phone's got like a tack on the earpiece of it. So he puts the phone to his ear, puts the fucking nail into his ear. And his ear is bleeding the whole movie now. And at this point, Arkin kind of gets out of the... Or no, this is where he goes to the window. And the window's boarded up. And he puts his fingers through the window. And that's when there's razor blades under the boards in the window.
Yeah, so he was like trying to pull the boards off of the window. And then it looked like one of the boards fell. So like razor blades on top of his hand and under.
Yeah.
Just like pinning it together. And he just rips his hand out. Like a fucking man. Doesn't make a sound.
So at that point, you're watching this, right? You have no idea where you're going into. When that starts happening, did you expect any of that?
No. So like, because it had to have been the same day, right?
Yeah.
So like to imagine like all of this shit just like magically like to imagine the collector having enough time to booby
To
trap
rig everything.
everything is insane.
So you were in like a state of disbelief from the get-go.
Yeah.
So after the whole thing with the window and razor blading his fingers and stuff, Arkin decides to leave the bedroom. And it's at this point, you know, after he's found the phone, he's found the razor blades in the window boards. That's when he's kind of like on high alert now. And I think that's kind of what him being a burglar kind of gives him like this sneak boost to where he's like, he has extra awareness, right? Did you pick that up? Like
Yeah.
his sneak skills were on 1,000, bro.
Yes.
Not 100. This guy was a god of thievery.
Yeah, it was almost like that video game character.
In like
That you
Skyrim
just-
or something, right?
Yeah, and you just put everything into
Everything in the sneak, bro. This
Yeah.
guy was a G. He saw everything. He saw all the wires he'd walk into, all the trip wires. He saw everything that was rigged.
Yeah.
And as he's like maneuvering these booby trapped hallways, the collector is also looking around, and he's also a sneak god too because he has like a little like butter knife that he's using as a mirror. He's putting it into like doors. Did you see him doing that?
Yeah.
And he's kind of looking in there, and he's using the knife as a mirror to see if anybody's in the corners and shit.
Yeah, so I loved that part because it wasn't like corny like some horror or thriller movies where they just like so happen to know exactly where the person's hiding and they just yank open the closed door.
It wasn't
And-
corny then.
No, because he was actually like it actually showed how he was finding this person.
And like, so there's like a sequence, like I said, where he's walking around and he's looking for a trap, or he's really just trying to avoid the traps. And I wrote down all the ones we see, like in this part. So apparently there's a whole hallway that's just full of razor sharp wires, like a whole spider web. Like he accidentally runs his cheek into one and it slits his cheek just from him touching it. There's also a staircase that has like nothing but floorboards, like with nails sticking out of them.
Yeah, from Home Alone.
And there's an entire room dedicated to bear traps.
Oh yeah, in the dining room, right?
And I think that there's the scissors that's connected to a chandelier with knives on it.
I thought the chandelier was connected to the front door.
God only knows.
And then the scissors were connected to something else.
So Argan ends up kind of getting like pushed into the basement because he hears the collector coming. So he goes downstairs into the basement and it's pitch black. He's using a flashlight. And it's at this point that he bumps into the dad, who is again just bound, and he looks horrible. Eyes busted up. He looks all mutilated. His feet are broken. And he's got like lacerations and cuts all over his body. And at this point, the dad finally believes that Arkin isn't the collector. So he tells him like, hey, I got a gun in my safe.
Yeah.
And then Arkin's crackhead eyes light up. Oh, really? What's the combo?
Yeah. So like he told him and he actually tells him where it's at. So it's not like
He didn't like trick him into it. Like it just happened to be that the gun was in the safe.
yeah. So he's like, "Oh, I got a safe." I think he even asked where the safe is, which is like crazy because he's covering his own ass while
he
while
has-
on the run.
He's got
Yeah.
like the sense to be like, all right, I'm just to let him think, I'm just.
Yeah. So like he doesn't think later on if he survives that how did he know where my safe was?
He's still going to thank me after the fact. So he says he's going to go find this gun. He learns that there's bullets in the dresser. But before he goes to do that, Arkin finds the mom in a tub with tape over her eyes. She's gagged, and the tape is kind of like, what was it, pinned to her eyes?
Yeah, it looked like it was stapled to her eyes.
So, I didn't think about why do these people have a creepy ass fucking bathtub in a really weird closet looking room? Did you
Alright.
pick up on that?
I picked up on that, but I just assumed that it was
Like
the
storage?
I just assumed the collector brought it with him, just like everything else.
Why would he bring his own bathtub?
Well, okay, the bathtub was probably down there, but
Bro,
like,
it looked like a porcelain goddamn bathtub.
oh yeah, one of those off yellow ones that you see in like really bad horror movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think like all the poly on the walls and shit, that was definitely the collector, which I think added to the like creepiness level.
That's true, I guess. Because there was like an office down there, right?
Yeah,
And so at this point, he finds the mom. He kind of tells her to calm down. He's asking her where the daughter's at and stuff. And the plan that he formulates is he's like, hey, I'm going to need you to scream so I can go upstairs. And I remember when that part happened, I just laughed because I'd have told the guy, you got to be kidding me.
Well, so the way he gets her to scream is he says that he needs her to scream so that he can find their daughter. Because both parents had asked, I don't remember the little girl's name, but both of them had asked, like, where is she? Is she safe? And he kept saying he didn't think she was in the house. So he told her that he needed her to scream so he can get upstairs and look for the little girl.
So he manages to talk her into it.
Yeah.
She screams. And when the collector comes downstairs, he goes upstairs. And he's searching the bedrooms and stuff, looking for the daughter. And as he's doing that, this is the part where the collector used pliers on the mom. And he, like, pulled her tongue out. And he kind of is like, he has two sets of pliers. One's holding the tongue, and the other one's, like, kind of pricking at it.
So, like, it looked like he had the garden shears, like the small ones, or maybe some wire cutters. It was something.
It was something painful looking.
Yeah.
So he's looking for the daughter, and then when he can't find her, I think that's when he shifts to the safe. So he grabs the gun, but I think he can't find any bullets.
I don't even remember him trying to look for the bullets.
I just remember him saying, like, fuck, and he punches the dresser, and he's like, no bullets. So now he just has an empty gun. And it's at this point when he hears a knock coming from the closet. And he opens up the closet, and lo and behold, it's the box from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, so when I seen that in the closet, I thought it was, it's like, oh my God, it's like some Sinister type shit, right?
Mhm.
So, like, meaning, like, if he opens this box, now the collector's going to come after him. I just assumed at that point that the collector had, like, some supernatural powers and that he was just going to automatically be involved. Because at this point in the movie, the collector was investigating sounds, but he wasn't looking for him directly, you know?
That's true, because he didn't even know he was there at that point, correct?
Yeah, I like, the whole time I just assumed that the collector thought that he was the little girl.
You know, just brainstorming about it, I would have thought that he had minions in there, like maybe like two dwarfs.
Oh yeah, or the elves, just
Some
to
elves,
like,
just some evil elves, bro. It would have just fit
yeah, just to like get all the traps set. And
because he had to have had help.
well, he did. You see the same spider throughout the entire movie, so like that was what also led me to believe that this guy like had some supernatural powers.
And he had weird eyes.
His eyes, yes, his eyes,
They're really reflective.
they looked like the spider's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little creepy.
You know what that could also be though? He could also do meth.
Meth. Oh shit. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Well, like, cause they didn't look. Well, yeah, it's still possible, but they didn't look like, you know, most people's eyes, like, even dilated. They look like perfect circles on the inside. His shit looked.
It was just real reflective, like you said. It caught light really well. Like if he saw everything, it's pretty accurate. But so this dude Arkin, he sees the box and he opens it, and it's the old man from the beginning of the movie, and he looks all fucked up, and he's kind of what does he ask him? He asks him like, why is he doing this? What's he doing?
Yeah. So like basic information questions: who, what, where, when, and why.
And all the old man says is that he collects people that he likes, and he kills who he doesn't like.
Yeah. So the only way you'll survive is if
He likes you.
Yeah.
And that's foreshadowing, by the way, because there's a second part to this movie. There's a part 2.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's called The Collections.
The Collection, which is fire.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind watching that one.
It's the same main actor, just they expand the world. It's cool.
All right.
But yeah, so the old man foreshadows that movie low key when he's like, he takes the people that he likes and he kills the one he doesn't. It shows where he takes them to. And now after this, though, I don't understand. I guess I kind of understand it. He shoves the old man back into the box, and the old man is really cool about it if you think about it.
Yeah, so I think, well, obviously he shoves him back in there because he doesn't want the collector to know
That he was up there.
Yeah, that he was up there. And I'm pretty sure the guy that's in the box went ahead with it because he didn't want to be tortured or killed anymore. You know, because I mean, he was chained to the box. Like he had the chains around his ankles.
It wasn't around his ankles; they were through his feet.
Well, yeah, like so, like at that point, all I seen was his ankles.
Oh yeah,
know-
because we don't know that till later. So
Yeah.
yeah, first we just see his chain in the box.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a comical looking scene as he's putting him back in, because he's just shoving this dude like a ventriloquist dummy, bro. Just
Yeah.
like, you get back in the box, Aziz.
He went in there so easy, and he's just like pushing his head.
Yeah, shoving him by his forehead back in the box, dude. So now Arkin sees an open window now as he's wandering the hallways. And he's so like tunnel vision to get to this window that this is one of my favorite scenes in this movie. He doesn't notice that there's paste, like thick, hot glue covering the floor. And he runs in and he gets his boots stuck.
His Chucks.
His
He's wearing the
Chucks.
all black Chucks. Favorite shoe.
Right. And there's also a black cat stuck in the glue.
Stuck in the glue, and it looks like it's melting.
And it looks like it's melting.
Yeah.
And so the collector knows he's upstairs, so he's coming upstairs. So Arkin's got to make some quick maneuvers. And I think he ends up like pulling his feet out of his shoes, right? And he jumps on a dresser or some piece of furniture.
He jumps on the bed.
That's right. And so now he's trying to like pull his shoes out of the gunk so that the collector doesn't know he was there. And this whole time the cat's like meowing at him and shit and hissing at him. And it's trying to get free itself, right?
Yeah. And I think in him like jumping on the bed, he knocks some books on the floor. Right?
Knocks some books on the floor. So he manages to tear one of his shoes off, but the other one is still in the glue. So he takes a book and he covers the shoe up with the book. And he also grabs the cat and tears the cat out of the glue, ripping its flesh and fur off, right?
Yeah.
And he tosses it out of the window, thinking, all right, if I can't save people, I'm going to save this cat at least. And what happens, sir?
The window shuts.
Well, the cat hits a tripwire,
Oh yeah. And the window shuts.
and there's a
Cuts
giant,
its-
like, guillotine, and the cat gets cut down the middle.
Yeah. Falls on the floor.
I don't know why I'm laughing, dude. It's just so out there. Like, I've never seen something like that.
Me neither.
Like, that was wily as hell to me. That was a crazy scene.
Yeah. Especially like I can understand the paste, but whether it was like hot or just like I don't know why it just looked like it was melting everything.
So Arkin ends up hiding under some pillows on the bed. And like I said, like I told Denise when I was watching this movie, to me it was like watching a sports game, some type of competitive thing. Like I'm cheering as soon as this dude's doing these plays. Like he's like a player, bro, just like outsmarting, outmaneuvering this guy. Like really high stakes for me. Like the tension was really high. I was like, oh man, how's he gonna get out of this?
Yeah. So my hands were like sweating the entire time.
So the collector is kind of looking around the room, and then he ends up just piecing out because he doesn't see anything.
Well, he sees the dead cat.
Oh,
And-
he sees the cat, so he assumes the cat was the one making the noise.
Yeah.
So Arkin ends up coming out from the bed, and the way he gets out of the room is he tosses a couple extra books on the floor, and he just walks on the books out of the room, which is genius.
Yeah. Fucking amazing. Like
Right.
this guy is
Like they thought of everything. Like they could have easily just like cut away from that, and we not seen how he got out of the room, and I wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah.
But because they added that little extra part, it's like, oh man, it's
like this guy is like king of thieves, man. Like
pretty
he's-
much, bro. So Arkin goes back to the basement after this, and that's when he finds the dad strung up he's upside down, right?
Yeah.
Stomach cut open, guts hanging all over the place.
Just not in a good it's not where you want to be in a horror / thriller movie.
No. You never want to be the guy that's hung upside down, gutted.
Yeah.
And so then he goes to find the wife, and he helps her get out of the tub. He found a pin. Somehow that helped him get the tape that was pinned to her face.
Oh yeah, he finds it on the dresser and he picks it up with his bloody hand.
So he gets her out of the tub, and he tells her not to panic as they're walking through the basement and to stare at his back.
Yeah. I did like that he thought about it. He's like, okay, this bitch is gonna scream if she sees him, so stare at my back. I think that was like a heads up play.
That's right. Like, he should have just full on covered her eyes. But I mean, what he did, he made the effort. Like, hey, don't look anywhere but my back.
Yeah. Well, I think he wanted you. you're in that position, would you want somebody with like no vision and possibly trip over something, or like be able to like see your back and the ground so that they can see nothing's in front of them, right?
Yeah, but he knew what was gonna happen. He 100% knew what was gonna happen. That's why he told her not to look.
Yeah, he knew that she would freak out if she looked. But I
'Cause-
think he put a little too much trust in her.
That's true, I guess, because you don't know her, right?
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't know to the extent that she was gonna freak out. Because they're walking out of this restroom and they come into the basement to the room where the husband's, hung upside down with his guts spilling out. And she sees, she obviously looks away from this dude's back and sees her husband, starts to scream, runs up the stairs. And the second the door opens, there's bright lights in her face and she gets just shivved right in the gut.
Yeah.
And then he throws her down the stairs.
Yeah. She goes down the stairs, and at that point, I think she's dead.
I don't think so.
So no, that was my thought at the time. I was like, oh, she's definitely dead. She just got stabbed. According to Gangs of New York, that's a kill shot. She's dead. She's gonna bleed to death, and she definitely got pushed down the stairs. So I was like, she's done.
Sir, I believe this is a somewhat realistic horror movie. Somewhat. You get stabbed doesn't mean you're necessarily dead. You can survive a stab to the gut because there's a lot of shit in your gut.
Yeah.
So when this happens, Arkin hides under a desk. And the collector goes, he drags the mom back into the bathtub. And that's when he starts to sew her mouth shut, correct?
Yeah.
He gets a tape recorder so it's recording her screams as he's sewing her mouth shut. So we know she's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Was it at this point that he poured gasoline in the tub with her?
Yeah. So I didn't know that was gasoline at the time. I was just like, oh,
He just
it's
poured
like
it out of a gasoline container.
I wasn't paying attention to what it was
was
coming
a
out
giant
of.
red gasoline container, bro.
All I was paying attention to was it looked like it was like smoking near her feet. So I was like, oh, that's something that I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so as this whole thing is happening, to the mom in the basement, Arkin's gone back upstairs and he's kind of trying to find his way out. And, as he's looking like trying to tear the window off, he's working with the window with the boards again. And as that's happening, he could hear the mom screaming from the basement through the vents. And you could tell he's really messed up about it. Remember, he's kind of like grabbing his head, like, I told you to be quiet.
Yeah.
So it's showing that he's feeling guilt, like he wants to go down there and save her, but he feels like there's nothing he can do.
Yeah.
At this point, that's when they hear the horn honk outside, and that's when the daughter's out there with her boyfriend, the thought daughter.
Yeah. The thought daughter.
He times it with the mom screaming in the basement. Did you catch that? To break the window.
Yeah.
He's like waiting, hears her scream, breaks the window, breaks the glass, and he's trying to get the thought daughter's attention.
Yeah. So he's like screaming out the window, like, don't come in, go away. But every time he talks, it's like thunder and lightning.
And we see that the daughter's outside in the car with her boyfriend, and they're doing shenanigans.
Some debauchery.
Debauchery.
Well,
I don't know if debauchery is the same thing.
dude, I don't know. I just remember you always say
Not anymore. The collector notices the daughter's outside, so he unlocks all the doors. Or no, he just unlocks the back door because the front one's booby trapped with the chandelier, like you said.
Yeah.
So he unlocks the back door, and I remember this part. He goes to hide in a corner. I just called it the perv corner because he just crouched down and got into this like really weird stance.
Dude, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, because then the daughter and her boyfriend come in through the back door, and it's been very lustful at this point. They're all over each other, so we know, it's go time.
Yeah. So he's talking about wanting to have sex outside in the car. Like this guy just like can't wait, and it's obvious that she wants to get to her room, right?
He's gonna have it wherever he wants, man.
Yeah. This is his real life porno, man.
This is why she's the thought daughter.
Yeah.
So they get as far as the kitchen. Oh, but while they're getting inside the house, right, they're low key like missing all these booby traps by the grace of God.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. Like not very corny, but like I thought it was like interesting. Like, yeah, I could kind of see that happening.
Yeah, because they definitely like it wasn't random, that they weren't hitting any of the traps. Like they zoomed in on like all the wires they're barely missing when she almost steps on the step with nails on it.
He's like his leg is brushing up against a wire with one of those guillotines attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an intense scene.
And then of course, we get into the actual, the meat of this movie, where they start to bang on the island of the kitchen. And basically, the collector, he's in the corner, bro. They zoom in on his face a lot, and he's licking his lips.
Yeah, just like would not take his eyes off of her. So like at that,
I don't know,
point,
man. He was watching both of them like a snack.
I don't know, man.
We don't know what he's into, dude.
As soon as her boyfriend took her tits out of her shirt,
you licked your lips too.
Well, obviously, yeah. It's like, oh damn, but I don't know. At that point, it looked to me like he was just like fixated on her, and that was the person he was gonna collect.
In my notes, I put the actor is living his best life. Because this wasn't like a standard sex scene, where it's like they're just showing random flashes of shit. Like this dude straight on like both hands on titties. He's like sucking on them both. Yeah. This was a really graphic scene.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty nice.
It was well done.
Yeah.
Lighting
was on point.
Lighting was perfect.
Yes.
So while this is happening, the daughter finally notices the collector, crouched in the corner, practically with his dick out.
After staring in that direction for a good while.
Exactly. Yeah. So the boyfriend gets up and gets in between them, right? And I thought, all right, maybe this will be a little bit interesting. And the collector approaches with a knife, and the boyfriend throws a punch, and the dude just stabs his hand. Yeah. Like the knife goes through the boyfriend's hand. And then he backs up, and then he accidentally hits a tripwire. Or no, the collector pushes him into a tripwire.
Yeah.
And a giant blade comes out of nowhere. I don't know where the hell it was.
I think it was the one that was right next to his leg when he was, like trying to have sex with the girl.
Yeah, but I don't know where like the blade that he had rigged was set up because it cuts his fingers off.
Yeah.
So the knife went through his hand, like at the knuckle, and then his fingers get cut off. And now, he's obviously dazed after this, so he's kind of stumbling backwards, and he falls into the bear trap room, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I was wondering how many bear traps he was gonna set off.
Didn't he step in it first, right?
Yeah.
First the foot steps in it, snap, falls backwards on his back. You see his arms and his hands get bear traps closed on him, and the grand finale is the one that snaps on his head.
Yeah.
That was satisfying to see. It was crazy.
It really was. Yeah.
I wanted to see what that room would do. So I'm glad that they like played with like every trap they kind of foreshadowed.
Yeah.
So after this, I guess while that's all happening, Arkin was upstairs and he managed to take the boards off the windows.
No, so when the guy is like falling, he came downstairs.
Yeah,
he had already gotten the boards off the window, but he like came downstairs. I think he was crawling under the table
in the bear trap
room.
So he's he's like face to face with dude when he falls in the bear trap.
Yeah. So like I felt like he was like trying to get to them. He was like obviously trying to like play it cool and like be quiet about it.
And then he got distracted by the titties on screen too.
Yeah, most definitely.
Definitely. Because he was there for that.
I think that would distract just about every man.
Just this little voice in the back of his head just said, let it happen.
Yeah.
So then the daughter ends up getting taken by the collector and she gets bound to the staircase, like hands over her head. She's in this pretty helpless position.
Yeah. Barbed wire around her wrists and her throat, right?
I believe so. And then the collector again starts to perv out and he's trying to like motorboat her through her shirt, I think.
Definitely not through her shirt because they ripped her buttons off.
It wasn't bare titties though. You remember those warlocks?
That's all I can think about.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I almost want to end this now.
Gotta rewatch this shit.
So for some reason, though, the collector ends up leaving her. She's by herself, right?
Yeah. I think he heard a noise upstairs.
Oh, Arkin set a bedside alarm,
Yes.
old school alarm clock. So the alarm clock goes off, and the collector goes to turn it off. And while that's happening, that's when Arkin, releases her, and she's understandably confused as to why he's there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I saw you one time today, dude. Now you're here again with this psycho. So to like assume that, he was on some bullshit too isn't outrageous. So I can't really, at the time you're watching it, like, you dumb bitch. But like after thinking about it, like, I guess that kind of makes sense. Like, you'd question everybody.
Yeah, so in that scene, I was just like, okay, like, she's understandably upset. She just watched her boyfriend die. Just got motorboated by some guy in a mask. And then you see somebody that you've only seen once inside of your house. You would think that person was in on it too, right?
Mhm.
Like, even if they were saying like bloody and shit and like saying that they're not in on it, there's got to be that thought in your mind. Like,
You can't trust anybody.
no.
And something you just mentioned about the collector's mask, which we didn't talk about at all. How would you describe his mask?
So his mask looked thick as fuck. Like, it looked
It looked leathery, right? But thick.
like almost like a
Like Cardi B thick.
I wouldn't say leather. It looked more like rubbery.
Rubbery? Like,
yeah.
I can't describe it. That's all I'm
Like
asking.
it was like a harsh rubber, like really black, looked really thick, and then it had like the fucking ropes almost in the back where he tied it.
That's why I think it was leather, because it would have had to have been something he could fasten.
I mean,
I have no idea, though.
it didn't close all the way in the back.
It didn't, did it?
No.
No, so Arkin frees the daughter, and she's questioning him, and she immediately reaches for a pair of shears, a pair of scissors. And of course, those are booby trapped.
Yeah.
So as soon as she grabs it, somehow she gets thrown into a wall where there's like nails embedded.
Yeah, so like it's a projector screen.
The movie projector screen.
Yeah. She gets thrown into
Bunch of nails.
fucking longest nails I've ever seen in my life.
They impale her, and she dies instantly, and the projector turns on.
Yeah.
So like as she's nailed to this projector, the movie starts playing.
It
Which
sounded like a
was dope.
family movie, right?
Yeah, because remember at the beginning when he's doing contract work, the dad's watching movies on that projector, family movies.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So again, that's another callback to that. Like, this movie did a whole bunch of foreshadowing that was dope.
Yeah.
So after this, Arkin goes back upstairs, bro, to try to save the man in the box now. At this point, did you like think like, oh, everybody's gonna die he tries to save? Like 100%.
Yeah, but I think the thought that was going through his mind was like he failed saving the dads, failed saving the mom,
Failed saving the
boyfriend.
daughter and the boyfriend.
Yeah. And so he just like and the cat,
And especially the cat.
and he had to save somebody.
And then as he's grabbing the old man, that's when we were talking about earlier. Not only is he chained to the fucking box, his fucking feet have holes in them that are actually holding him to the box.
Yeah.
So the old man's not going anywhere. And Arkin realizes this because as he's pulling him out, and once he realizes that, he pretty much says, you know what? Can't do it. Can't save you. So that's when he jumps out the window finally, that he's opened up.
Starts to run away.
Starts to run away, and then he looks back, and the little girl's in the fucking window banging, like, where are you going?
Yeah. After hiding for the entire fucking
Have you ever seen 28 Weeks Later?
Yeah.
You've seen that movie.
Mhm.
You know the opening part.
It's been a couple of years, but
It's one of my favorite opening scenes of all time where, like, the guy's running away from a farmhouse, and he sees, like, his girl in the window, like, banging on the window, and then he keeps running away.
yeah, I remember that now. Isn't
In that situation, what do you do?
in which situation? 28 weeks later, or
This one in particular.
I don't know, man. You see so many people die, you would almost have to.
I mean, the
Almost
fact
have
that
to
it's
go
a
back.
kid, right?
Yeah,
I think because it's a kid, oh, fuck.
yeah. Like I don't want to,
But I have to.
Yeah,
So, of course, so as he sees the little girl in the window, he also sees the silhouette of the collector notice her. So now he's like, oh, now I gotta run. and he pretty much like parkours back into the house. Did you catch that?
Yeah, it was like some Assassin's Creed fucking climbing on shit.
Climbing up the windowsills and stuff.
Yeah.
Very elaborate for him to get back to that window. Like, I don't think I could do it.
I don't think I could either. It was pretty convenient for all that stuff to be there for him to jump on. But I mean, he did have to jump from like one roof to another. Keep in mind, this is a big ass house.
That's true.
Yeah.
The next scene after Arkin starts climbing shit to get back in the house, it's the little girl, and she's been found by the Collector. Of all moments, this is when she's going to get found. So if Arkin and the Collector are god-level sneak people, what would you call the little girl? The Messiah? The chosen one, bro? Is she Neo from the Matrix?
She's, what's his name from Dragon Ball Z? Or Dragon Ball Super?
Fucking Beerus, bro? Or Whis? She's Whis, right?
Whis? I was talking about the little kid one. I can't remember his name. The one that controls everybody.
Oh, you're talking about, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can't think of the dude's name. The little fucking black and white guy.
What? He was like purple or blue, purple, and green.
I'm colorblind, motherfucker.
All right, you threw out colors, so I did too.
All right, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about the god of Dragon Ball, the Super.
Yeah.
Is it Neo? No. That's gonna. Oh, Zeo.
Yeah.
It's a Z.
It definitely starts with a Z.
Xeno.
Yeah.
It's Xeno. Yeah. So she'd be Xeno. We're gonna edit a lot of that. So yeah, so the fucking Collector and this dude Arkin are fucking god level sneak people. The daughter's on some next level shit. But like I said, in this moment, she chose to get found.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like about to be grabbed by the Collector, and then Arkin jumps in, and what do? They have like a little scuffle.
Yeah, a little fist fight.
Oh wait, no, this is the part where he manages to like knock him down or something, and he grabs the girl, and then they go into a bedroom. And they lock the door. And remember, this is where he tells her, like, I'm going to need you to not be on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, dude, some fucking next level, like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Dude, so when he said, I'm going to need you to not be on the floor, I just assumed that they're back in that room where the cat died. Like,
That's what I thought. I thought the glue was on the floor. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why she can't touch the floor. Okay, that makes sense. But then the next shot is she's standing behind a TV on the dresser, and he's behind a fucking fish tank, dude.
Yeah. She's not holding, but like ready to push a TV onto the floor.
Right, but who thinks of that? They literally had 0.7 seconds to think of this. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And this dude's just like, I'm going to kill this guy in the most elaborate way humanly possible. So they're both in position. They're both off the floor. They're ready to drop the fish tank and the TV. Does this work? Is this a real thing?
I'm not sure. I mean, like, I've heard about, like, obviously that thing that, like, somebody takes a bath with a toaster next to it, you know?
Why would you take
Like,
a bath with a toaster?
No, so, like, it's
a
not
hairdryer, bro.
So it's not an actual bath. Like, they would just, like, push it in there. But, like, hairdryers are waterproof now. So
Now I know how you take baths.
a toaster, I don't take baths. But, like...
You take a bath with a toaster next to him. Everybody needs
this
toast.
person, obviously they have the toaster in the bath in
It's
the
just
bathroom.
such a random reference, dude. Why would you
Look,
say
man.
toaster? Of all the things you can plug into a wall, you're going with toast. You mean radio?
I've seen this in so many movies. All right,
The toaster?
Yeah, because they're doing it deliberately. They're trying to kill themselves. They don't just have a toaster in there.
Is the
They're
toaster
fucking
like the
making
most
toast and
like?
shit.
Is it the most potent thing? Like why a toaster?
because it's open. Because it has the opening and is direct to like wires.
current.
Yeah. That's why. So don't judge me for thinking of a toaster. Judge yourself for not thinking of it.
No, but anyway, so they're getting in position for this trap, and the door flies open, and as soon as it opens, they enact their plan. The girl pushes the TV as Arkin pushes the fish tank. The floor is live. It's electric. But, unfortunately, the Collector grabbed the old man that was in the box, and he throws him in head first, and the old man gets electrocuted to death.
Yeah.
So Arkin failed that guy also. And then the Collector comes out of nowhere like fucking Batman with throwing stars with his throwing knives. And just starts fucking throwing them and just fucking bullseyeing them. He never misses. Like, well, I mean, he's missing, but they're sticking. Have you ever tried to throw a knife, bro?
Yeah.
You'll throw it 20 times and it might stick 5 times.
Well, I mean, like, these knives weren't ones with, like, regular handles, right? They were, like, completely metal. So they're meant to be thrown.
So they're actual throwing knives.
Yeah. So, like, they're not offset by the handle of a regular, like, pocket knife or whatever, or a regular steak knife. Like,
Right, but so if you've thrown throwing knives before, I can't always hit.
no, I've thrown a throwing star. That's it. Like,
When did you have the opportunity to throw a throwing
look,
star,
man,
bro?
it was back in the day. Some kid was running around the neighborhood with
I
them.
was in anime club. I got lost. I thought it was for Hose Anonymous.
It was when Naruto first came out.
Nah, so he's throwing these knives as him and the little girl are running towards another restroom. It's like a laundry room, I think, because he ends up letting her escape through a laundry chute. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And at this point, he turns. Oh no! They walk into the laundry room and it's filled with fish hooks.
Yeah. And he gets hooked like right on the edge of his eye.
On the edge of his eye and his ear.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they full on punctured. So he has to get the fish hook out of his like eyelid, pull the fish hook out of his ear, and then like I said, he helps the little girl to go down a laundry chute so she gets away. And then the Collector busts in the room, fucks him up actually, because he knocks him out. Correct?
Yeah, so like they have like a
It's a little scuffle.
really little scuffle, and then he like knocks him on the ground, and then just straight fucking jaw checks the fuck out of him.
Yeah, because he takes his mask off,
Yeah.
so he sees his face, so he knows what he looks like, and then he gets jaw jacked.
Yeah. He sees his face, but we don't.
So yeah, Arkin sees his face, but the audience doesn't. And after he gets knocked out, he wakes up, and I thought he was tied up in the basement at first because his hands are bound. He was where the dad was.
Yeah, so his hands were
They're
I think-
over his head,
over his head with hooks through them.
and they're handcuffed. So he has hooks through his flesh, and he has even more hooks on his back,
Yeah.
which was greatness.
It was crazy to me. Like that's what really made me think of
Like Saw.
Saw. Yeah.
I could see that. That's definitely like you could tell the director took a lot with him to that movie, or whichever came out first.
I'm not sure.
And one of the torture methods he does to him, and this is one time when I winced in the movie, it's because when he grabs the chisel and the hammer,
Mhm.
and he put the chisel in his mouth, and he kind of like does some soft taps on it to like pull his tooth out. And when that happened, it's probably the one time that I like actually kind of like closed my eyes and like looked over the side a little bit.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
I think was it one tooth or more? Because I heard it hit the ground and I was just like, yeah, I can't. Like that was horrible.
That was awful, bro. And I think while this is going on, we find out that the little girl's under the desk that Arkin hid in earlier that's in the basement, correct?
Yeah.
And so he actually, the Collector hears, I think he, why does he go towards the desk?
Oh, so the thought daughter had started to call 911 before she got tied up. So she dialed it and called, and obviously she like gets taken or whatever. And since nobody was there, they end up sending a car out, right, to investigate. So
Well, yeah, this is before that. Because before that, he goes towards the desk. Like, he thinks the little girl might be under the desk, and he's kind of like walking away after he chisels the tooth. But while he's walking over there, Arkin knows, like, oh, he might have found her, so I got to start yelling stuff out to try to get his attention. Do you remember this part?
yeah, I remember that part now.
He's throwing out everything you could think of. He's, hey, bitch. Hey, you whore. And do you remember which one actually got him?
Calls him a faggot. Yeah,
Faggot. And then his feet stop.
yeah.
So you ever fighting a serial killer, you go for the homosexual slur. That's the one that'll get him every time.
Because he calls him a bitch, and then he calls him whatever,
Pussy.
calls him a faggot, and he stops, and he notices. So then he calls him a faggot bitch, and that one was
That was that double combo that he was like, eh. And that's
Yeah.
when the Collector goes into a closet. He walks past him, And he's like, he doesn't do it, but I feel like he's shaking his finger at him as he's walking by, like, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Because he comes out of the closet and he's got a glass jar and it's like, has beetles. Do you know what kind of bugs those were?
They look like those big ass roaches, the hissing roaches that
Yeah.
you'll see on like Fear Factor or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it looked like a bunch of those. Puts it to his stomach.
He slit his stomach open first.
Yeah.
So it makes a big ass gash in his stomach and he puts the jar up against the cut and he has a lighter, right?
Yeah.
And he's lighting up the bottom of the jar so that the bugs will try to get into his cut. That's an old school, like, medieval torture technique. You familiar with that?
Yeah. Well, not from medieval times, but I seen it in Too Fast, Too Furious with the rat in the bucket and the blowtorch. That's what it reminded me of.
Well, they stole that also.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a medieval thing. They used to put rats in buckets and heat the buckets up so that the rats would burrow themselves inside of you and eat your insides.
Yeah.
So he does that, and that's what you said. That's when the cop shows up. So when the cop shows up, he's kind of wandering around the property, and the collector comes out from behind a tree the slickest way you could ever do it.
Well, so didn't the cop see, like, he was looking in the window, right? And he looks in the dining room window.
Oh, and he sees a body.
Yeah,
so that's
sees-
why he pulls his gun out. So,
He sees the dead boyfriend on the bear traps.
I mean, I know you're a cop, bro, but you see like a mutilated body, and there's a guy with a mask, kind of like ballet dancing outside, because the guy's moving really whimsically when he comes out from behind the tree.
Yeah.
Like very nonchalant, not obeying any of his commands. Just shoot him.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I don't know why he gave him so many chances. Just fill him up, man. I don't know.
Fill him up.
Fill him up.
End
Fill
of
him
the
up
clip,
with
bro.
Yeah.
But so like he's kind of hesitant to shoot the collector. His collector has a knife, right?
Mhm.
So he's hesitant to shoot the collector, and then that's when the dog from earlier in the movie fucks him up, dude. It bites him and it kills him, right?
Yeah.
So the dog is capable of a one shot. This is a very powerful fucking dog. A big ass German Shepherd,
Obviously trained. Right?
obviously trained.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I'm not much of a dog person, so I just assume every dog has this in their arsenal and they choose not to use it.
Well, no, because, I mean, like, the cops, when they use German Shepherds for, like, when they're training them and shit, they, like, train them to, like, go for the limbs. They'll go for, like, the non-kill points. So they train them to go for the leg,
so you
the
have
arm.
to train to like know where to.
Yeah.
Okay, because traditionally a dog will just bite you in the ass of the leg, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But no, so when this happened, at first I thought it was like an accidental death. I was like, oh man, this family's fucking dog is a nut. Did
Yeah.
you think that?
Yeah. I did. Until he whistled.
Until he whistled and it called the dog off. And I was like, oh, that's that guy's fucking dog.
Yeah.
So like I said, this is the only part where we find out that that dog wasn't the family's like we thought at the beginning. And after this, doesn't the... So how does Arkin get out from the basement?
So
'Cause-
he manages to, like, pull.
Oh, he pulls
his-
himself off the hooks.
Yeah, he gets his hands off. I think he still had a paper clip, or maybe he used one of the hooks to undo the handcuffs. And then he pulls off of the ones that were attached to his back. Look fucking painful.
Yeah. So he pulls himself off the hooks, and then the first place he goes is to the tub where the mom is at still. And he sees now, her mouth is sewed shut, and I think she's alive because he tries to free her.
So he goes in there. I think she was alive, but I think what, like, dragged him, or, like, got him to go in there was because the recording.
She had the tape recorder.
Yeah, she had the tape recorder and it was playing.
So the
he
dude-
heard it.
Yeah, so the collector had her listening to her own screams as she's sitting in a tub full of gasoline with her mouth sewed shut, which is some next level diabolical shit. That's what I was thinking when I saw that. I was like, man, that's twisted.
Yeah. It was fucked up.
Because not only do you suffer, now you're just laying there just hearing yourself suffer.
Yeah, so, like, when he was recording it, and, like, at first I was like, oh, okay, so, like, this guy is just, like, all out, just, like, weird. He's, like, recording it so that he can listen to it later, It's
It's on some next level sicko shit.
Yeah.
And so he says out loud at this point, he's like, he's going to blow up the house. So he figured out that it was rigged to explode.
Yeah, so, like, he's seen the gasoline. He's seen something else. Like I think it was like either to the side of the tub or above it, and it looked like it was like rigged, like to catch on fire if he like moved her.
So he had to leave her. So then he goes with the little girl, and they're still in the basement, and he's kind of like tying something around her waist.
Yeah, it looked like
Some bed sheets or some shit.
yeah, like a longest bed sheet I've ever seen. Because I
Right.
didn't see him tie like multiple ones. It was just one.
So as he's doing that, we see the collectors coming into the house, and he has the German Shepherd with him now.
Yeah,
So it's this really intense moment. You know, they're really trying to hurry up. They don't even know that they're hurrying. So this is one of those movie luck things. Because then Arkin goes up the laundry chute. He had sent the little girl down first, and he's climbing up it. And as he's climbing up it, we see the collector approaching the basement with the dog, and he sends the dog down the stairs first. And that dog's fucking booking it.
yeah,
So it's a real intense moment of Arkin climbing the chute, and as he's pulling the little girl, the dog reaches the little girl, and it looked like it bit her foot the way they shot it.
it definitely did. I was like, it's like as soon it looked like it like nicked her like over those like rain boots or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as it did that, I was like, no, don't hurt the little girl, you know?
Because that motherfucker would have tore her leg off.
Yeah. But like, so like going back, like, do you think that the collector walked into the basement or like walked to the top of the basement with the dog because he knew that he got free? Or do you think he brought the dog to get the little girl?
Probably to get the little girl.
Yeah.
That because either that, bro, or he was just gonna sick the dog on old boy while he was bound still.
Yeah.
Which is even crazier to think about.
Yeah. The dog just comes up and like rips his throat out while he's attached to all these hooks.
Maybe not even rips his throat out, bro. What if it just like took bites out of him while he was still like hooked up to the wall?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the type of dude that this guy was, so it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, to find the little girl and to fuck this dude up some more. But so now Arkin and the little girl, they're upstairs again. And they're in the bedroom, and the dog knows that they're upstairs.
Yeah. I think he.
How the dog knows where the fuck they're at is beyond me.
I'm not.
Because the dog goes to him first.
I thought that they made like a noise up there or something.
Maybe they made a noise, but he ends up like doing something with it. This confused me. Because he does something with a trash can. Puts a whole bunch of stuff in the trash can, and he lights a fire in the trash can.
So he puts a bunch of toilet paper in there.
Yes.
Lights the toilet paper, puts it in there.
And then the dog is running up the stairs full speed, and he's timing this because he kicks the door open to let the dog in. And as the dog comes in, he shoves the dog's head into the trash can that's
Yeah.
on fire, and somehow that's a kill shot.
I guess. So like when he was like lighting the fire in the trash can, this whole time I was like, okay, he's gonna throw that down the laundry chute, and it's just gonna blow up the bottom half, and he's just gonna hope.
That's what I thought. I thought he was
Yeah.
going to blow up the basement with the dog in there, which would have been tight too.
Yeah, I was like, he's just gonna hope that it's not gonna hit the top floor at first, and it'll like be obviously a fast burn, but he'll be able to get out. You know, he went the opposite way.
Because I don't get how that, we find out that kills the dog.
Yeah, but I mean,
It had to have
that
killed
dog
it.
like jumped, like he was like mid-air jumping full force, and he catches him by the head, so he might have like snapped his neck or something.
Maybe, I guess. But I guess we're having to guess what happened because I don't know what happened. All we know is that he shoves the dog's head into the trash can. And
Oh, didn't he shut the door on the dog?
no,
No.
he just opened it, trash can into dog's head, cutscene.
All right.
And then also the collector has a shotgun. Did he get the shotgun from the cop, you think?
Yeah, it shows him getting it out of the cop car.
All right, so he's walking around downstairs with the shotgun. And out of nowhere, Arkin turns the corner holding this dude's big-ass fucking dog, and he just throws it at him. And the collector uses the shotgun and blows the dog in half with the shotgun.
Yeah.
Glorious.
It was pretty amazing. He threw that dog like a fucking football, man.
He
It looked
threw-
like he one-armed it. After being injured that much, he has the strength to crawl up the thing, pick up the dog, kill it, and then throw it at the guy.
You got to assume that dog
Consider-
weighs about like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
120 pounds.
Yeah,
Like a
and
punching
he threw
bag.
it a considerable distance. It's pretty nice.
And so after this happens, there's a fight in the kitchen. And this time it's more competitive. I think Arkin actually wins this one. Correct?
Yeah.
And he manages, after they fight, he throws him in the basement somehow.
I want to say he like fucking 300 kicks his ass down the stairs. That could just be me like making shit up.
Yeah, I don't think he Sparta kicked him, bro.
No.
Maybe he did, but I don't remember that. Yeah. And so now the Collector's in the basement. He still has the gun.
Yeah, because when they were fighting, the gun gets knocked out of his hands down the basement stairs, and then somehow he gets knocked down the stairs. And in my mind, I was like, "Well, shit, like you put him right back where you started."
And
but
then
he locks the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is Arkin and the little girl trying to find a way out. And once again, bro, the fucking like on the feet thinking, like he has literally 0.5 seconds to think of these things. He grabs a mirror off the wall and he puts this like giant mirror in front of the front door, and he stands off in an angle to where he does the Jurassic Park trick, to where the reflection makes it look like they're right in front of the front door. And so the Collector comes back upstairs, and when he sees the reflection, he shoots the front door open. So not only does he have the mindset to trick the guy, he does it in a way to where he's going to make an exit for them.
He positions himself in the mirror to where he's right in front of the door.
To
so
where
that
his,
he knows is gonna...
He knows he's going to shoot the fucking front door open for him.
Yeah.
And while not only that, he's holding the damn wire, bro, for the trap that the Collector has set. So once he shoots the door and the Collector's in position, he cuts the wire. Chandelier with knives fall from the ceiling, and it lands right on the Collector.
Yeah.
That's some MacGyver shit, dude.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Like, I can think of like so many instances where this guy survives just thinking of this shit like
it's not luck,
like a
dude.
fucking
Like
superhero.
it's just God level awareness.
And I know if I was in that position, I'm dead. Every single time I'm dead. I'm not thinking of this shit.
There's no escape for us.
No. I would have thought of oh, I'm going to throw you out of this window. You're going to get cut a little bit, but I'm going to follow you through, and I'm going to run without my shoes through this glass, and we're going to find something. That's my best idea.
Like, our best idea is probably brute force.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try to break you, and that's about it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So once the chandelier falls on the Collector, it doesn't kill him, but it wounds him, and we see he's obviously in pain.
Mm-hmm.
So Arkin takes this time to grab the little girl. They run out of the house, and they're running through the forest. And he gets to the main road, and he sees the cops approaching. So I remember I was screaming at the TV, bro. He puts the little girl down on the side of the road because there's tall grass in this road.
Yeah.
He puts her down perfectly right next to the tall grass,
where you can still see her.
where you can still see her, but she's standing right next to tall, giant ass grass. And he runs into the road, and he throws his body in front of a cop car. Which, I mean, I guess you want to get their attention no matter what.
I mean, I wouldn't say he throws his body. I think if he was gonna run out into the middle of the street instead of on the side and try to flag him down, he should have done it a whole lot faster, because they did not have time to stop.
Nah, dude, so he gets hit, and he's positioned to where he's still looking at the little girl at the side of the road. And then, as he's laying on the ground, kind of dazed, the camera's all shaky and doing all types of crazy effects. He's seeing flashes of the little girl, and then the Collector appears from behind the little girl.
Yeah.
Now, when that happened, I was like, oh, he's really going to snatch this little girl up, and that's how the movie's going to end.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, well, shit. She didn't get hurt the entire movie. This dude's about to,
snatch her up and just diss a fucking peer, bro.
And fucking train her to be like him.
Something. But fortunately, it ends up being that he was hallucinating and a cop grabbed her, right?
Yeah, it smacked his head pretty hard.
So then after that, a cop gets the little girl. She's safe. He gets put into an ambulance. And while he's in the ambulance, he starts talking to the driver. And he's like, hey, what time is it? And then it all comes back to you. Oh, yeah, there was this whole other plot.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about all that.
Yeah, because I forgot to mention, when he grabs the gun, he also grabs this big-ass ruby from the safe.
Correct.
It looks like a ruby. Puts that shit in his pocket.
So he had the ruby. So he pulls the ruby out, and that's when he asks. He's like, "What time? You got the time?" And the guy tells him like, "Oh, it's a little before midnight." So he's like, "I made it. I
Yeah.
made it."
Smiling and shit, like,
Dubs, bro.
yeah. And then he asks the guy if he can call his wife.
And they're talking about that, and it's about to happen. You know, he's about to fucking pull through, even after all of that. And then something T-bones a fucking ambulance. What can T-bone an ambulance, sir?
Dude,
A Hummer?
I don't even know if a Hummer could do it. Had
'Cause
to
it-
be like
It
fucking
didn't just
semi.
T-bone the fucking ambulance. It was a van. He had a
It was-
van.
I mean, it was a van, but and now this is where like my because the whole movie, like, to me, it was like it was pretty fucking realistic. Like, because in most horror movies, main character gets hurt, bro, they're not bleeding from that in the next scene. This guy was bleeding from all of his wounds the entire time.
Like,
They
it
kept
was all chronological.
Yeah, they kept it like good. Like, I could respect it. But a fucking minivan or a work van like smacking into an ambulance, which is bigger, and like sending it like that, and then he's also able to like use it afterwards.
Like, they were on a lonely road. How could he position that, right? Like,
Yeah.
this was like a random back road highway. There was no, how would he be positioned for that? How would he get the acceleration for that? We're thinking too much into it, but that's what happens. And the ambulance fucking flips. Like, he hit it that hard that the ambulance rolls down a damn hill. And
Fucks everybody up.
and it's cool because when the collector goes to open the ambulance door, the ambulance is upside down, so Arkin's hanging upside down, like dangling in the gurney, right?
Yeah.
So he goes in. As soon as he opens the door, he throws one of his fucking throwing knives, kills the ambulance driver, hits him right in the face. And then he takes Arkin from the gurney and he drags him out to his van. And when he opens the van door, lo and behold, we have the box from the very beginning of the movie. He gets tossed into the box, shut, credits.
I actually really liked the ending.
Did you? I guarantee you didn't. There's a post-credit scene that I didn't know about.
I did not know that. No.
I didn't know it till I was like looking up the movie. So the post-credit scene, it's literally like 5 seconds. It's the collector in some room sitting on top of the box, and as he's just sitting on top of the box, you hear Arkin in the box yelling out, "I'm gonna fucking kill you! I'm gonna fucking kill you!" And then it ends.
Oh well.
So I guess that was foreshadowing, like, you know, that the next movie was gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So like, I liked it because one, him getting him shows you that there's a possibility for another movie, and two, it wasn't the stereotypical like happy ending, which is like kind of
Like happy and
Shitty.
too sad. I feel like there's
Sad
it's
for the
literally
little girl.
there's a very far like spectrum. It's either over the top everything works out, or over the top the world is fucked.
yeah. It was in between. But he, what we did forget to like mention is like he had seen the guy's face, and when the cops were there, he had told them who he was.
Oh
So
yeah.
we do find out who he was, but I don't think we ever seen his face in the movie.
I take it back. And it wasn't credits after he closed the box. After he closed the box, the collector goes back around his van, and one of the last things we see is that there's a giant sticker on the side of the van. He was an exterminator. So that's why there's like imagery of bugs throughout the movie.
Yeah. So he was
And he was
One-
at the house at the beginning. He
Yeah,
was
he
doing
was-
the contracting work.
the exterminator that like
He said something too as he walked past him.
He told him that there was a wasp nest by the greenhouse.
Right, so these guys had interactions.
Yeah.
I didn't bring it up earlier because I thought it'd been like random to mention, like, oh yeah, and there was exterminators there while he was contracting.
Yeah. 100% random at the time.
Yeah. But with context, so they were both there casing the house pretty much.
Yeah. For 2 different jobs.
Did you think that the random like images of bugs was like? Did you catch on to like the randomness of it also?
Yeah. So like
A lot of spiders.
a whole lot of spiders, and it because during the beginning, the first family, wasn't there a spider there too?
Yeah, there was a spider when he was having the tea party with the daughter.
No, for the very first family, like in the opening scenes, wasn't there a spider in their house?
There might have been. I can't remember that one.
I don't know.
But anyway, so like now that we've gone through the movie, I feel like, so when we talked about it outside before we came in here, you said you didn't really care for it. So after talking about it more, has your opinion changed at all?
Yeah, it's changed like complete 180. I actually like respect the movie and like the movie more now talking about it. Getting clarification on a few things, you know. But yeah, it was a good movie. I didn't like. I think I took for granted like how god tier this guy was.
Like when you really think about it, right?
Yeah, and yeah, it was a good movie.
Well, like, listen, man, that's why I love like these movies, like because I'm watching them. Like I read reviews about this, and it didn't get good reviews, believe it or not. It got bad reviews because people thought it was torture porn. Like it's too much like Saw. It's nothing but like ridiculous violence, and like yeah, that's in it. But the angle that I'm watching it from, when I watch these kind of movies, all I'm thinking is, how the fuck did they do that?
Yeah.
Like that's a skill to be able to film something and make it look real.
Oh yeah.
Like appreciation for the violence, the thought that goes into it. Like, okay, how can you surprise people nowadays? And this was back in 2009. So nowadays, everything feels like it's been done.
Nowadays in movies, just too many like jump scares. Wasn't really a whole lot of jump scares in this movie.
Speaking of that, this movie came out in 2009. So from like 2000 to 2010, the main movies that are out at that time, it's like
The
Ring,
Grudge.
Grudge, 13 Ghosts. This is before the Insidious and the Conjuring movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So at the time, I feel like this was high-end horror. Like definitely a hidden gem.
Yes, 100%. Because I'd seen this movie on Netflix so many times,
And you would have never saw it.
Yeah, like it didn't go to. I don't think it went to theaters, so it didn't get the respect that it deserved. And because of that, I wasn't willing to like try to watch it on the sole basis of like, oh, it wasn't in the theater.
And like I said, man, like the reason that I do these podcasts, bro, is because I thoroughly, thoroughly appreciate movies like this. And the reason why I'd prefer like you to watch movies with me, like as I'm going through them, is for me watching it's a whole experience, man. Like I get excited for certain parts, like I'd get you hype and stuff. So like you said, it's completely different after you talk about it versus watching it yourself.
Yeah. So I think like, especially me, like I was kind of like, I've been closed off to like horror and thriller movies for so long that I was just like, oh well,
Right,
Yeah.
you don't get excited about it.
no. Like I think as he's like running around the house or like going around the house, like barely escaping, I think that'd get anybody's like palms a little sweaty, you know? But like now talking about it, like it's
There's a
whole
lot
lot
that
of it.
goes into it.
yeah.
Like the anticipation, the build up, the foreshadowing, how it's executed, how it ends, the resolution and stuff. Like that's all exciting as hell to me.
Yeah.
And for me, I love this movie. It's one of my favorite slashers. That's what this is. I don't know what you would call this. How would you categorize this? Is it purely a slasher, psychological, thriller?
It's got to be a psychological thriller, man.
You think it's more of that?
Yeah.
You see, because when I think of psychological, I think of like Hereditary. Those like really like thought out movies. Like this is a little too much. There's too much gore and blood and stuff for it to be just psychological.
Okay. I
'Cause
get
it's
you.
very gory. I think, right?
Yeah. Like not gory on the level to Saw.
It's explicit.
Is definitely It's definitely there, present.
How would you compare it to like traditional slasher movies? Like, because I read that a director this wanted the killer to be like iconic, the collector to be an iconic character.
100% different than like the vast majority of them.
Like Michael Myers, Jason.
Scream, all that shit. Like he's not walking around the house like slow as shit, and you just like somehow like how you're not wondering how did he get there and all this shit. You see how he's getting to where he's at the point that he's at it.
It doesn't feel like he's playing the video game with mods.
Yeah. Like he's not just like fucking lagging around the house and then he just appears in front of you.
And that's also the credit of the director, man, because like remember how there's those overhead shots room to room, you see him creeping up.
Oh yeah.
And the same thing goes for Arkin, man. The dude Arkin, bro, superhero.
Yeah.
That actor,
100%.
bro, like This movie came out in 2009. I looked it up. I was like, I thought like you. I've had to have seen this dude somewhere. He wasn't really anything familiar. He's a lot of like background characters in okay movies. Like I couldn't even tell you what they were off the top of my head.
Dang.
But no, do you think you're gonna remember this? You know what I'm saying? Like, did it have a lasting impression, you think?
Oh yeah, like it's making me want to watch
The second one.
Yeah, the sequel, like the collection.
Because like I said, it's the same is the actual sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we might actually do that at some point. So I came up with like a rating system for the podcast. Did I tell you how I do that?
No.
So I decided to go movies on a scale of 1 to 6. And after I say the number, I say inches. Do you know why?
No.
I Googled the length of the average taco.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going.
You sick
All right.
fuck.
Yeah. I was like, but it's an average of something else.
You know, when I was thinking about this movie, I tried to predetermine like what I'm gonna rate it. But like you said, after we talked about it, man, like I was originally going 4, but I think I'm gonna go 5.
5?
This is definitely a 5 out of 6 inches for me, man. It's a hidden gem that I appreciate.
Yeah. So like before we talked about it, I definitely would have given it something like really low, something that it didn't deserve.
Right.
But now talking about it, yeah, I'd go with you on that 5. Like
You'll meet me at 5.
Yeah, it was damn near.
It's a
near
flawless
6.
fucking movie,
Yeah,
dude.
it was good.
There was the effects, there was the pace, there was the filming, and there was the titties.
Everything you need, dude.
But so I'm still working on how to end these. I'm not exactly 100% sure on it. So thank you for watching, everybody. Josh, thank you for being here with me.
Anytime.
And again, the social media and stuff we talked about, that's going to be going up soon. Right now, I got a Facebook page. The episodes are going to be on Spotify for sure. I'm working on how I'm going to get them on YouTube, though. But thank you. This has been the Death Taco Podcast.
Creepy, surreal. Someone better get the door. Someone better get the door. Who's gonna get the door?
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est?